Today on the CTV News at 5, the big question for southern Alberta's beef industry: when will the Brooks processing plant reopen? Plus, how some community members are trying to save a part of Rentham history. And mending fences. Why pronghorns need a helping hand from hunters and artists.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The Union for Workers at the Brooks processing plant shut down over E. coli concerns, says better training and work conditions are required to ensure that meat is safe. A news conference held by the Union of Alberta Federation of Labour in Brooks has just wrapped up. Doug O'Halloran, president of the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, Local 401, says the speed of the processing line at the XL Foods plant in Brooks is too fast. He says that's led to shorter times in which to make sure equipment and meat is clean. O'Halloran says plant officials are ignoring workers' concerns about food safety and managers won't meet with them to discuss outstanding issues. The news conference comes just one day after the owners issued a statement saying XL has corrected all the problems outlined by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
Not just XL, but other companies in the food industry shouldn't be able to self-regulate. And the CFIA, we're not complaining about the inspectors. As a matter of fact, the inspectors do a good job with the tools that they have to do it. However, there are not enough inspectors. They are severely understaffed. And the other problem is that it appears that they don't have the authority to shut down the line if they think that there's a case of contamination and what have you.
Now, the union boss also says whistleblower protection is important for the workers who are afraid to speak out about problems. He also called on the Alberta government to hold an inquiry into problems at the plant. Now, Canadian Food Inspection Agency staff combed through the Brooks processing plant yesterday, and now the country's top food inspectors have that report in their hands from their investigation. The report may determine when the XL plant can reopen. Ottawa says the XL Foods plant will have to go through a multi-stage process before it reopens. Inspectors were checking to see if the company has fixed the problems that forced its closure and sickened 11 people with E. coli in 4 provinces. And today, no word yet on what those reports have produced. 20 countries have received affected products, including the United States, where officials estimate more than 1.1 million kilograms have crossed the border. Still no word when Canada's largest processing plant will reopen. Crowsnest Pass residents are accusing the municipality of trying to make firefighters look bad. The municipality is investigating the storage of 200 kilograms of fireworks found in the Blairmore Fire Station, which they say is against federal regulations. Locals wonder why the information is being released now, a week after nearly 90 firefighters quit in protest over the firing of Blairmore's Fire Chief Jamie Margatack. The Pass Ratepayers Association says safety wasn't an issue when the municipality sold the fireworks to the Blairmore Fire Department after last year's Thunder in the Valley. The association says a meeting with council yesterday didn't ease tension nor bring back firefighters. They're now planning a meeting tomorrow night to hear public concerns.
We have called a general meeting for Thursday because the people are upset, and we were going to start a petition to the minister for an intervention into the dealings here in the Crowsnest Pass.
Other community residents are planning to start a petition asking for the mayor and council to be removed from office. Tomorrow night's public meeting is scheduled for 7 p.m. at the Hillcrest Miners Club. Fire prevention officers in Lethbridge say there are a number of illegal secondary suites in the city, and they're urging homeowners to bring them up to code. Fire officials met with media this morning at a home on 13th Street North that was recently brought up to code. The windows have been widened to meet government standards, smoke alarms installed, and drywall replaced. This demonstration of a proper suite is part of Fire Prevention Week, and the theme is Have Two Ways Out. The city is offering a grant program where homeowners can submit receipts and receive a maximum of $2,500 back to legalize their suites.
It's life safety. Life safety for the people living in the house, and also safety for the firefighters so that they don't have to crawl into one of these basement suites and try to rescue somebody. If somebody has a quick exit out, then it saves them and also will save the firefighters in the long run.
The city's already handed out nearly $154,000 to 165 homeowners for upgrades, and it has $106,000 in grant money that's still available. Full details on the standards and the rebate program are available on the city's website. Lethbridge police are hoping to reunite a woman with her wedding ring. The solitaire diamond engagement ring and engraved wedding band were found by a person walking along 4th Avenue South on Monday near the CIBC Bank. If you've misplaced this ring, you can contact regional police with proof of ownership. Dory Rossiter, nothing says variety like southern Alberta weather. Some showers, some snow, even some sun, all mixed in.
Yeah, you just shake up the globe and we get a little snow and a little sunshine and everything else in the mix, and that's certainly what this week has been shaping up to be. Tomorrow's kind of a transition day. System's on its way out, but in advance of that, we got snow. I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. Well, a young southern Alberta man is trying to save a nearly 100-year-old piece of history. The original grain elevator in the tiny town of Wrentham is one of only a few buildings left standing on the prairies, but it's set to be destroyed. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
22-year-old Cody Capsos has always loved old artifacts and was forever impacted when he saw one destroyed. Now he's on a mission to save another.
My hometown elevator was demolished in about 1998. That's when I really started to become interested and more passionate.
Kind of broke his heart when he was just little.
There's grain down there.
The original Wrentham grain elevator was built in 1915 and includes several rare features. It closed in 1968 and is now being used for grain storage, but the family who owns it is moving. Canadian Pacific Railway owns the land it's on, so the elevator is set to be demolished next year. Cody started a historic society to try and preserve the building, but a leaky roof and unstable foundation are adding to the costs.
Hopefully we can get some people to donate and help him out, because it would be sad to see it go.
Only 7 of 48 elevators from Stirling to Minnieberries are still standing. Many have been destroyed in the past 15 years. Capsos hopes to keep this one part of the prairie skyline as a museum with live demonstrations and artifacts from Western heritage.
It's an integral part of our agricultural history, and without that history, we would be lost.
The Wrentham Elevator Society needs to raise about $75,000 to move and restore the elevator. Already they've had interest from people across the prairies and as far away as Ontario. Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Wrentham.
Now, the Historic Society still needs a couple more members to participate in monthly meetings and to help fundraise. To join or donate, you can check out Wrentham Elevator Move on Facebook. Well, Cranbrook is backing off on plans to shoot troublesome deer in the community since another town is facing legal action for culling deer. Opponents have filed a case against Invermere over the public process that approved the cull of 100 deer back in March. Cranbrook Mayor Wayne Stetsky says his city relied on the same process, and he's worried that the city may be on the hook if the court finds fault with Invermere's methods. He says deer in Cranbrook could be relocated instead of being shot if opponents of a cull pay the higher costs of trapping and moving the animals. And coming up next, here's a story about local pronghorns and how a fence is helping to make their life a lot different. Bill McFarland reports.
It must be incredible out here without the fences, you know, just a million miles of nothing.
It's easy to imagine that time here in the remote southeast corner of the province.
What an empty nothing. This landscape is full of wildlife.
The land is punctuated by fences, barely noticeable to most inhabitants, but for the pronghorn antelope, fences can be trouble.
You see them out in the prairie, they're so agile looking, but they don't jump, and so it can be a real barrier to migration for them. It can cause some issues with predators, things like that.
But pronghorn can crawl under a fence. So TJ Schwanke from Alberta Fish and Game Association started a project to replace the lower strand of barbed wire with a smooth wire and raise it 18 inches off the ground, perfect for crawling.
Pronghorn are at the very northern edge of the range in Alberta, and a bad winter can really hurt them. So having that easier, migration corridors and things like that becomes key, because sometimes they need to get out of Dodge in a hurry when the weather gets bad.
The project improves about 50 kilometers of fence line a year at a cost of $350,000 over the past 4 years. The money comes from hunting licenses, a contribution that improves the chances for pronghorn survival.
I guess what appealed to me was the pain and suffering angle, like the infections that an antelope gets. So this is sort of an unintended consequence of fencing.
The project is run by hunters, but among the volunteers is an artist collective exploring the nature of boundaries. Artists and hunters may seem like strange partners, but the fencing project has fostered a deep respect between the communities.
In some ways, it's actually a very passive activity for the number of hours they spend out here, as you say. I mean, they're observing, they're watching, yeah, they do have a very good sense of what happens here over the long term.
The work is nearly invisible, the effects more subtle than dramatic, but for the pronghorn, it adds up to more freedom. Bill McFarland, CTV News, Foremost.
During the month of October, Westminster School and Centre Village Mall are teaming up to ensure kids don't go to school hungry. They've been collecting donations since the beginning of the month, and this morning the 11th annual cereal drive officially began. The program started in 2001 and has been feeding kids breakfast before class for the past 10 years. School officials say 77% of students will eat breakfast for a second time when they arrive to class. The vice principal says the program is vital to the success of their students.
The brain needs food, and our kids come to school sometimes a little bit hungry. So we love to start them off with this breakfast each day. We take the first 20 minutes of each day to provide them with breakfast, and our cereal drive helps us to increase the nutritional value of the snacks that we're able to give them.
Donations can be made to the school at 402 8th Avenue or 8th Street North or at Centre Village Mall until the end of the month. And turning to the markets today, a lot of down arrows. Tough day all around. Here are the closing numbers.